let's talk about managing nutrients for hydroponic production. I want to start with one of the more popular formulations, Steiner's formula from 1984. It's typically ran at a concentration from 800 to 1500 parts per million at 6.5 pH. Now, since its development, management has shifted from measuring in parts per million to measuring in EC, or electrical conductivity. So if we convert this to electrical conductivity, or EC, you can see that Schwarz in 1995 adjusted this Steiner formula to be, or it's best measured and managed between 2 and 5 microsiemens per centimeter, or millisiemens per centimeter. And then as recently as 2020, Hartano et al. Have adjusted this down to this much more, getting out of these ranges and just giving you a 3 millisiemens per centimeter. And so this gives us a simple measurement. We want to measure at 3 EC, and we no longer have a range. We just can really drill this down and not pay extra money for these nutrients that we need to elevate, you know, the EC any higher than it already is. So we'll just keep it at 3. Now here's a detailed breakdown of this Steiner formulation. The compounds here on the left. Is that your left? It's my left. Yes, okay. The compounds here on the left, and then their dose in milligrams per liter on the right. So you can whip up your own Steiner formulation with all these compounds, from potassium phosphate down to sodium molybdate. Now, whether you mix this yourself or you buy it pre-made, you don't have to be, you know, applying 134.7 milligrams per liter and then, you know, 490 something. You don't have to do all this. This is all pre-made, pre-mixed. Either you mix it in one big batch or you buy it this way. And then the quick and dirty application is that you just need about 2 grams per liter is all you need to hit this 3 millisiemens per centimeter. 2 grams of your premix, however much of this you've made, take how many liters you've got in your whole solution, double it, and that's how many grams you need of this to grow a crop. To grow at least the crop that Steiner's designed for leafy greens, of course. So when to make your adjustments, when to manage these nutrients, when you've made this measurement and found that you've maybe fallen below this guidance and need to add a little bit more of this Steiner solution, when should you make these adjustments? Well, ideally, it should happen at nighttime. This is when you can either increase your EC by adding salts or nutrients, decrease your EC by adding water, just diluting, right? Decreasing your electrical conductivity by diluting. And then lastly, adjusting pH as needed, up or down, using an acid or a base. But we're doing this all this adjustment at night because this is when we're typically able to get away with draining our system. So if we have production over here, if we wait until nighttime, we can typically drain all these grow bays into a sump. And so have everything in one spot, get a master reading of the entire system, and make all our adjustments so that they are homogeneous, and then come the next morning when everything's pumped back out, all changes affect the whole system. So all changes affect all the water. Now, before you go draining your systems during the night, you just want to, of course, make sure that your plants can actually survive this. And so this typically requires lower temps during the night and higher relative humidity, higher RH. This is in part because of the lower temps. Like when the temperature goes down, the possible humidity that the air can hold goes down, and so the relative humidity is going to increase. But anyway, we want both of these to happen so that when these bays are empty, when they no longer have water in them, however, still have plants who still have roots, because we've got this low temperature, the high relative humidity, we've really made sure to decrease crop transpiration and so decrease crop water need. ultimately, these adjustments, these things to keep in mind, this focus on the, the nighttime solution change, there's more of this effort needed when you are creating a custom nutrient blend. However, I want to tell you that in this time, prepackaged tech is the way to go. Okay, it simplifies everything. It's you almost always going to still be cheaper than you going out and finding everything and assembling it yourself. Like, you want to mix this up all the time? You want to figure this out all the time? No. So get some bagged stuff, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Now, I'm not trying to get you to spend a bunch of money and prop up the fertilizer industry. I'm not here speaking on their behalf, but I am just here to tell you that this prepackaged nutrients, they're already blended. It comes with labeled instructions and often customer support from the company. It's the way to go. I mean, you definitely get it dehydrated. That's where you're actually gonna really save the money, Don't pay for water when you're just gonna hydrate it once you get it anyway. Prepackaged nutrient solutions come in a variety of blends or options. So the simplest option are these one-part blends. Just something made for a single bag, this prepackaged whatever is made for, it'll even say on the front, vegetative growth, for bloom, for fruiting. So different nutrient compositions depending on which of these your crop, either which stage your crop is at and or what crop you're trying to get off the plants. And in general, as we go down this list, we're seeing more nutrients. So as we go down, well, that doesn't make sense. As we go down, more nutrients. Not that a vegetative plant doesn't need any nutrients or couldn't need a lot of them. I mean, depending on what you're growing. If you're growing broccoli, that's a very heavy feeder. It's going to need a lot of nutrients, but still a less of a spread than once you get into blooming and fruiting, start needing more phosphorus and potassium as these other parts of the plant begin to activate. Another common one, especially once you start getting into a bit of the heavier feeding plants, once they start needing more nutrients than just kind of the simpler, less complicated vegetative one-part growth, these two-part blends start giving you these A bag, B bags. They're giving you part of your nutrients in one part and then a complementary solution or a mix in the second part. So stay within the same brand, use the same set because different companies do this differently, but they're just trying to give you, in part because these things are dehydrated and they're trying to keep these nutrients separated and available for your plants. They ship you this two-part solution so that you get a full complement of nutrients that are still accessible to by your plant. And then kind of our last major option are these crop-specific blends that are kind of this evolution and finessing of the earlier solutions that we've discovered, like the Steiner solution, the Hoagland solution, the Enchi solution, all these different blends, all these different varieties that people are putting nutrients together for your crops to grow. Sometimes it's simplified yet further into just a bag of nutrients for lettuce, a bag of nutrients for tomatoes. And so we're getting kind of more expensive once we get over here because it's fairly well refined. Like this company is answering more of the questions for you. They're giving you a solution in a bag, and you don't have to do any mixing. You don't have to choose. You don't have to choose which of these your crop's at. You don't have to mix a two-part solution. You just have a single bag with all the problems fixed for you. My final point is that calcium and magnesium are both quite bulky, very heavy nutrients. And so if there's anything that you're looking to supply yourself or get as locally as possible, for the same reason that we're trying to get a dehydrated nutrient to save money so we're not paying for shipping, if you can get calcium and magnesium with as little shipment as possible, this is going to be a great way to cut your costs. It's just finding local sources of these, finding ways to not pay for the shipping, finding ways to add this in yourself so that, you know, in whatever solution or customized blend you're using, you can just bring in these parts as you can afford to, or as makes sense in your environment. Like if you're ordering out for a bunch of other things, the ordering out for other prepackaged nutrients and then blending in your calcium and magnesium that you have from a, you know, again, like a local mine or something, that can be really helpful. Okay, that's what I've got to say about managing nutrients. Get the prepackaged stuff. I'm not endorsing any kind of brand. You can go about it 1 part, 2 part, crop specific, do it whichever way you want. But I really recommend against mixing things and against just getting stuck in the weeds of trying to figure out what's the best solution. Get something prepackaged, get growing, and then once things are working, then you can, if you want and have the time and specialty and expertise to do it, begin to refine and enhance some of these blends, customize them a little bit more so that your crop is growing the best it can. But to start with, let someone else, or take advantage of the fact that someone else has already done this work and solve the problem for you. All right, thanks for listening. Bye.